Welcome, everybody, to Headless's Magical Mailbag. I got my co-host with me, fresh back from the Cosmic Summit. Say hi,
What
Nick.
up?
How you
What up?
doing?
Good, good. How are you? Thank you very much
Great,
for having me back on. Looking forward to this.
great. Sounds
This is the
like you
first
had
time
a good
podcasting since I've been gone.
right. We were just talking all about it while we were off the air. That's why we're late, everybody. So,
Yeah, sorry about
but
that.
we don't
Chewing
have
his
any
ear off about
mail,
the cosmos.
right? We don't have any mail this week, so we're going to go deep in depth into a couple of symbols that are gonna hopefully blow your mind. Do you want to go first, and then I'll take it over?
Yeah. Let me just pull up the images. I had your video pulled up first, so just give me a second. Sorry about that.
All right. So,
Yeah, I
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say I do have the I have a sigil from the Pikatrix. Let people know before I get to it. Share screen. Here we go. There we go. All right, you can share that, sir, if you don't mind, please.
You got it.
Awesome. So yeah, that is one side. We'll get to the other side later. That is one side for the talisman of the moon from the Pikatrix. Again, it's from the Pikatrix, and that is a 10th to 11th century supposedly grimoire on astrological and talismanic magic, which was later translated into Latin in the 13th century. This is considered one of the most comprehensive medieval handbook of astrological magic. The Picatrix draws from Hermeticism, Neoplatonism, astrology, and Arabic, whatever, occult traditions. Descriptions for this image. One side, which I will show next, actually, real quick. Really smooth it. There we go. That looks a little different. One side, this depicts a man with a bird's head leaning on a staff, holding a blossoming tree, an iconic icon from Moon Talismans in the Picatrix. And then the next side will be the seal, surrounded by the grand planetary seal of Luna. Has geometric curves combined with celestial symbols and lunar glyphs. This image that I'm going to show you now, switch back to. Even when you look up the planetary sigil for the moon, like with the gripper and the magical squares, it even looks like that too. So, it does come from that as well, I guess, or they share that same idea. A description. This in the text, the Picatrix, Book 2, Chapter 10, details this image and lunar seal for talismanic creation. It's further mentioned in Book 4, tying specific lunar mansions to outcomes. This would normally be for like good things. Other primary purposes and uses, the primary intention it guides the wearer to hidden knowledge, dream insights, protection, well-being, and good fortune, especially on journeys. To make it created at the correct lunar hour during the moon's exaltation, often in Taurus. And as some people don't know, when it comes to magic, if you want to start making these things each day, obviously there's a planet with it, and then each hour there is an hour for each planet. If you want to get real specific, if you want, you can use incense. They suggest mus, or mastic. Anybody's ever never heard of mastic? It's a little pricey because I think the only place you can really get it from is Greece, but I really love that shit. That shit smells amazing. Use that while reciting invocations to the moon's intelligence ruling spirit. The charm then works passively. Most power comes from timely creation and inscription in the Picatrix. Some notable historical references. Agrippa has mentioned it before. Ficino has used it before, and Ashmole has also. And nowadays, if people tend to use it, they frequently craft these talismans, using them for protection, psychic enhancement, health, and spiritual work. And yeah, and it's made a lot in jewelry. It seems to be one of the ones that you'll see in jewelry a lot. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's really about it on this one.
Well, it's a beautiful
Something
sigil,
different.
and I gotta tell you, your work on Ficino was amazing. So if you guys haven't
Oh,
seen that
thank you.
yet,
Thank you.
definitely check that out. That is phenomenal work. I think you really nailed the spirit of what he was trying to go for in sort of bringing back all of this, Neoplatonism to the Enlightenment. That's a huge accomplishment. And a lot of people try to
Yeah, no,
downplay
I
the
think he
Enlightenment, but I mean, basically, this is the guy that told people, "Hey, it's okay to read," because for a long time it was not okay to read in Europe, and they were failing because of it. And he's like, "No, guys, it's okay to read this stuff. This is really good. I'm going to translate it for you." And so it took off. Everybody
yeah.
started reading Ficino, and it was just it was game on in Europe. I mean, it was like 1,000 years of darkness until that guy. So, and that was all occultism too, people. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting how some of this stuff has carried on into like religion, and people don't even realize it came from an alchemist / occultist. So it's yeah. I think he's a very interesting character for people to learn about. So go check it out if you haven't. Thank you, Headless.
Oh yeah, no.
All right.
To go back into it a little bit, wasn't your interview with that guy with the awesome name who was under Manly P. Hall? He was talking about Ficino
Oh,
too.
Randall Carlson.
No. He was on your
Under
show
Manly
with.
P. Hall.
Yeah, he was directly under him doing
Oh,
the.
Ronnie Pontiac. Yeah, Ronnie
Yeah,
Pontiac. Yeah.
he was mentioning Ficino too, and I
Yeah.
think it's a good sign that we're getting so much Ficino. I've heard it like on 4 or 5 other podcasts as well. They're talking about this guy, and I think maybe we could be in for something like that. It's kind of that Ficino energy is really good stuff. I mean, he tried to be successful at a lot of things, but the only thing he could be successful at was this translation of the Platonic works into the contemporary European languages from ancient Greek, and so that's
Yo, they
it
wanted
was
to kick him out of the church at one point,
yeah, they investigated him. They're like, hey, you're teaching people to read. No reading
too. Yeah.
allowed.
Yeah. I think the way he pulled it off is like, well, I'm talking about Jesus or some shit. Like he threw like, he had like a religious twist on it, and that's how he kind of got away with it. He knew, I guess, knew what he was doing.
Right.
Like,
No, he was integrating the pagan ways with the Christian ways
yes,
because they weren't letting people read. Right. And all of this stuff about the trivium and the quadrivium, all of that comes from occultism. All of the ways of learning came up through this Greek style of occultism. And, people just don't realize it, but that's how we ascended to where we were at in the industrial age. And it's like keeping a lid on that stuff, really does affect humanity after a long period of time. And I think we're seeing the results of that now, what we're living through with, all this war fever and people just being sucked right back into it. They have no critical thinking skills. It's just like Trump says it, therefore it's good. We got to get out of that mode.
Yeah.
So I
But
wanted
even
to go.
just go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick, just to even I guess promote the next solo one that comes out will be Jacob Boehm, and then after that I should have Tycho Brahe.
Oh, that's going to be good. Tycho was a
Yeah, I don't think a
madman.
lot of people really know. Yo, right? I don't think most people know that about it or even know the guy exists. And it's like, yo, that guy basically other people kind of pimped out his work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And his personal
he
life
was
something else too. He had his nose chopped off in a duel.
Yeah, I put that in there. I got that in there. Yeah. Yeah, he found out later on that I think he was born with like a stillborn twin, and like he wrote a poem about that shit and stuff. He definitely he even married like a commoner, but had to do it in a fucked up way because he was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not marrying somebody of my class just because I have to. I love this woman and she's not fucking whatever. And he did some other way that made them legally married.
Right.
He definitely had an interesting life, and it didn't live too long either.
Right. His calculations survived to this day. Like he was that accurate with his observations of the stars and the planets and
He
stuff.
was anal with that shit. He was saying that, we could be so much more specific. He started building his own shit because he was like, this isn't specific enough.
Right.
The guy was crazy, but he was on something.
Again, it's another one of these characters that just gets no attention because when you look at Tycho Brahe's stuff and his model of the universe, he was mathematically 100% correct, even more so than our current heliocentric model. people go back to his work to actually calculate where the planets are because their model doesn't necessarily fully comprehend the mathematics like he did. Tell me that's not weird. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we get a lot of lies from NASA and these cosmologists. And if you go back to
Oh,
people like
God.
Tycho Brahe and Ficino, you start to learn about what it was before this kind of blob. Well, no, there was a lot of that going on in Rome too. There was a lot of bureaucracy blob shit happening before Christianity, but it seems like Christianity kind of just systematized it and pushed it in everybody's faces all the time. Which brings me to my
Yeah.
next symbol.
Yeah. All right.
This right here is something else. I looked this up when I was going through more Carthaginian art. This is a mosaic from the early Christian period in Carthage. Can I ask you what do you see there, Nick?
It's a lot of shit. I mean, believe it or not, I don't know why I think those two birds and the cross might be like, it almost reminds me of eyes. But I mean the cross donkey, and then that I don't know why that makes me think of the Democrat Party right away. Um, I mean, there's a lot of symbolism, I think, in here, actually. I don't know if there's anything specific.
It's
I would
deceptively
even say like the
simple,
things on the side. Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, but I think there's actually some deep shit in here. But it does look very just like artwork, just blah art stuff.
right? Kind of
I do like it though.
faded look with all the tiles, right? It's not necessarily vibrant, but what we're seeing here, I think, blows the lid off of what was happening with early Christianity. And what we see here is the two donkeys underneath the cross, right? So there's something very strange about these donkeys' faces. They're not really donkey faces, right? They kind of look like anteaters, which is the
They also
exact
look like they're tripping
glyph.
balls.
This is the exact glyph for Set, the Egyptian devil. And Set was something interesting when it comes to Christianity because Seth in Greek is Set. And Seth is the third son of Adam and Eve. This is the one who has the line of Set. So everybody coming from the line of Set are Setian, right? They're from Seth. And that comes from Egypt. That comes from Set worship. So Moses also rode this donkey. And in the Temple of Solomon, during the reign of Antiochus Epiphanes, he raided that temple, and there was a massive golden donkey head inside of the temple that they were worshiping. So Moses, donkey, Set, all comes from Egypt, all comes from Set worship. Now, who was this guy Set? He was the guy who chopped Osiris up in tiny little pieces. He was the Egyptian form of the devil or the bad guy. He was doing horrible things to his brother and Isis. And so he was also the god of foreigners and storms, right? And the Carthaginians had a extensive relationship with the Egyptians. They knew everything Egypt did. They were very, very integral to Egyptian success because Egypt was the breadbasket for the rest of the Mediterranean. So, how did they ship all their wheat? Through the Carthaginians. The Carthaginians and the Egyptians had a long period of cultural exchange into the time period of the writing of the Septuagint, which has, again, the Set motif. So, who are the Canaanite Phoenicians? Right? Who are these people that are talking about anolatry? Now, in the first and second century AD, the common insult towards Christians and Jews was to call them anolaters because
Uh,
the Greeks and Romans said they were worshiping a donkey head, Set. It was commonly known back then. For some reason, everybody forgot. So, yeah, they used to call them anolaters. There's this one graffiti called the Alexandros graffito, which shows Jesus on a cross with the donkey head, and it says Alexandros worships this god. And Alexandros was some Roman centurion. And so he's making fun of the guy for worshiping this donkey-headed Christ. Weird.
Yeah.
It's
You got
very
me. You got me
common.
going. You got me. Yeah.
It's very common as an insult, but it seems like the only group of people that are embracing it are the Carthaginians, which means that they probably wrote the damn book and they knew what it was about. So, worshiping the Egyptian devil. These four guys around the outside turning the world are the gospel authors, right? These are the, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They are moving the world with the gospel of Set worship. Weird.
That is interesting.
It's
Yeah.
deceptively simple. And what are these roosters with the nice little comb on top? They couldn't
Oh
really be.
shit! The roosters. Holy fuck.
Yeah. So we're talking about Abraxas. We're talking about these are the gods of the Phoenicians, right? The rooster held deep importance to the Phoenicians. You could see it all over their stuff. And you could actually see it
What's interesting when I'm
in
sorry.
this one right here. There's you can't really zoom in, but over to the right of the figure, right? This is again Tanit worship. Over to the right of the figure, you can't really see it on this cutaway, but there's a rooster,
Like
and it's the
the head
exact
tiny bit.
same.
Yeah.
It's the exact same rooster as the one you see here. It's the same motif. This Carthaginian rooster
Shit.
is a very common theme throughout their artwork, even to this day. Deceptively fucking
You know
simple.
what was
So,
interesting?
go ahead.
The Templars brought up the rooster. The Templars brought up the rooster in their at their lecture as a symbol.
The Templars
Yeah,
come through the mystery schools.
Go ahead.
The Templars come through the mystery schools. Where did the Carthaginians end up retreating to when they sort of left prominence and became Syrians? They went into the mystery schools. The Knights Templar were the ones that sailed across to the New World. That's what was on the big old sails, is the Knights Templar cross. And they came through Portugal, which was the home of the Knights Templar. All of these groups go back to Carthage. This is how they knew about the New World, because they had been sailing there for thousands of years, right? So the Carthaginians were also the Minoans, and the Minoans were the arms dealers of the Mediterranean. They were collecting copper from Michigan quarries, and they were taking. This is what I'm talking about, guys. They're still in control. That's what I'm saying. There's a ominous continuity between all of this Carthaginian shit, and it's right in the background of a lot of things. And I wanted to show everybody what I think is a Tanit ritual based off of this inscription of Tanit right here. Now, I know I've probably shown it to you guys before, but the steles of Tanit look exactly like this Gloria Steinem, or no, not Steinem, what's her name? It's the mother of Anderson Cooper, right? Gloria Vanderbilt.
Yes.
Gloria Vanderbilt has this image of Tanit above her bed, right? And so this is Anderson Cooper right here on the right, and then his sacrifice of a brother who died at 15 years old. Now, Tanit is the goddess of human sacrifice, and Carter, Anderson Cooper's brother, died at 15 of supposed suicide. It's the older brother getting whacked because the oldest son gets sacrificed in Tanit worship, right? So this is what's happening. Now, if you see above Tanit, you see that all-seeing eye. That's all over the stele for Tanit worship in Carthage, all around Syria, in Israel, all of these places, at the Tophets, they have that all-seeing eye above the Tanit motif, that triangular goddess with the circle head. Triangular goddess, circle head, arms out, that's Tanit, right? It's a very simple geometric shape. So this Tanit worship, I believe, goes on inside of movies that are fairly recent as well. So I thought I'd pull up this clip. I don't know if it's going to get me whacked or not, but this is from Tank Girl. Let's add to stage. How do we do that?
Improve that lovely hairdo. Or you sing for us. Fine.
All right, what do you want me to sing?
Notice the colors.
Let's do it.
That
Cole Porter,
Tanit
1928.
figure was in the same kind of black,
Nice.
really bright white face.
I'll cut it off.
When the little bluebird, who has never said a word, starts to sing.
Oh, look at those dice.
Spring.
Yeah.
The dice are in
I
that
can't
Tanit
hear
motif
you.
right above the bed.
When the little blue clerk in the middle of his work starts a tune to the moon above.
Everybody!
It is nature that's all.
Tanit is the goddess of
telling us
fertility
to fall
and child
in
sacrifice.
love.
Let's do it could mean killing people as well as
And
having
that's
sex.
why let's do it. Please do it. Even educated, please do it.
Let's do it! Let's fall in love!
Threatening the audience with death.
Sure to rest on the slide. Do it. Heavy at the bottom, I do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. They say that upper crust ladies do it. When
Oh, looks like a kidnap victim. Mouth taped shut.
Why don't we do it? Don't you have the guts? Penguins and
Oh, a little castration there. Oh, and look, they're laying over top of each other, just like the sacrifice in that Tanit. They're right there in front of the stage. And what's that stage made out of? Black and white squares. It's an all-seeing eye in a triangle.
What the hell is that? Sounds like Cole Porter to me, sir. End it, sir.
Sure, sometimes on the side you do it. Maybe later you and I might do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Hey, you in the bathroom. Let's do it. Let's.
All-seeing eye in the pyramid. Oh, there's the smoke. Now we're going to start the burnt offerings. We're going to start the burnt
Yo,
offerings.
you know what I thought was you know what I thought was wild? I don't know if you caught it, but you know at one point when she talked about the bird that has nothing to say and then all of a sudden it starts to sing. I mean, it's the same thing as a rooster. It does nothing all day until the fucking rising sun. It starts talking.
Ding, ding, ding. There's the birds and the bees. Right? Now, let
Yo,
me
I
bring
thought
this
that was
back up.
wild. I was like, yo, shit.
Look at this guy's decapitated head over here. He's kind of wearing that white towel, right? He's kind of got a white towel on his head. That's kind of weird. You've got all these white towels behind her. All those people wearing the white towels. Maybe it has something to do with wearing white at these events, right? Now, if you look on the circled red spot there, those are the dice. She was wearing dice and standing to the left of that lady in the middle, right? So to the left of the lady in the middle, you've got the dice hanging from her ears. Weird stuff. And again,
Yeah.
over to the left or over to the right a little bit is also the rooster. And what do we see there? We've got that same cross in the circle motif. Cross in the circle motif. Isn't that weird? It's all right there. So what do you think?
Yeah.
That's kind of
I definitely
bizarre.
think there
Huh?
was stuff in there. Yeah, I think the earrings and the rooster shit was pretty wild. And I mean, there's other stuff in there that matches too, but no, that really, I think you're onto something with that actually.
They had the kid on the
That was weird.
stage too. They weren't talking about
I mean,
sacrificing
even
the
the
kid, but
floor.
there she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bizarre.
No, I definitely. Yeah.
And when you put all the
No, that
little
was a
pieces
good fight.
together, man, things start to get dark. Maybe our whole society is built off of this. Like I've talked about before, maybe the Carthaginian form of government was called an oligarchic republic, right? Where at the very top of the society were judges who would decide most things, and they were, family line. They were all Carthaginian family lines. These were the most important families in the city, and they passed on their authority to their kids. And so below them was the Senate, and the Senate was made up of these corporations and all the richest oligarchs in that society, again, passing it off to their kids, and that Senate would then vote on the laws, right? And then below them, that was kind of like the playpen. And the playpen was just for the plebs, all the serfs, all the people who are under them. They got the little playpen. Now, what do we have in our government? Well, we've got these giant ruling families over top of all the corporations with some sort of unseen judge in the background, right? And all these corporations are the ones ruling our lives, just like they would be if we lived in Carthage, because we have the same form of government. And again, when we talk about the Society of the Cincinnati, that's the family lineage that's ruling this country, just like they did in the oligarchic republic of Carthage. It's strange, the parallels. And who could deny we live in an oligarchy now? Another interesting part is the what's the predecessor to the CIA and OSS? What was our intelligence agency du jour before that? Naval intelligence. It was always naval intelligence from the beginning of the country all the way up until the formation of the OSS in World War II. They were the premier form of spycraft throughout the rest of the world, was naval intelligence, because you had to make sure those ports were open. And this is where trade secrets would happen. And what do you find at all those ports? Masonic temples. All the Masonic temples is how they would get their information. This is where they would spy from. All the lodges is where you could meet your brothers in private. That's spycraft. That goes directly back to what the Carthaginians had all over the world. If you know anything about Irish mythology, it's all about Baal worship. How in the hell do they know about Baal? Well, where did the Carthaginians get their tin? Up in the British Isles, up in Ireland. That's where they got their tin to mix with the copper in the United States to make bronze. And they were the arms dealers of the Bronze Age. They knew all this stuff. It's a very direct line implicating them as being the founders of this country, because they knew where it was. They knew all about it. Or at least they had a vague idea, because it was passed along their bloodlines. And we don't have access to that kind of knowledge, but they do. And that's why we have ruling families. The 13 bloodlines, it's fucking Carthaginian as fuck.
It's fun. I like that. Well said, sir.
So, I mean,
Yo, you know what you got to do? I was
What's
thinking,
that?
I think I had told you about it. I was thinking too of like certain things to bring to the place. And I know this is like a year from now, and who knows if they even do another one. But I know I was telling you that if they do another Cosmic Summit, for the cost to have a booth for the 3 days, and then to bring people, add on the price to bring people, it actually makes it real cheap to fucking get there. And then you can promote your shit. I was trying to think of certain things, if you could make it or whatever, just have certain things like of topics for people to be told about when they came to the booth, besides magic. And I was even thinking, I was like, this might be a good one to tell people about there. And I was like, Headless would be the man for that.
Dude, the more eyes we can get on this Carthaginian stuff, I mean, I'm not making it up. You can see for yourself.
Oh, no,
All of
yeah.
these things have an ominous continuity. The more eyes we can get on it, dude, we could unravel this thing, because just the small bits that take you outside the mainstream on this thing. Nobody thinks about Carthage. Nobody thinks about the Punic Wars. All of that stuff is over, but they never ask the question, what happened to these people? Where did they go? What did they do? Somehow, the guys who gave us our alphabet and explored the new world just suddenly disappeared. They were the richest motherfuckers in all of the Middle East. Like, these were the sellers of purple. They were the sole place that you could get that color. And all of the royals came and paid whatever they charged. That's a lot of gold.
Yeah.
That's a lot of knowledge, too. And I think they kept it, you know? I mean, they were the ones closest to these libraries. They were the ones always trading in secrets. That's why at Alexandria you had the library right at the port, is because any books, any scrolls that were on board had to be copied at the Library of Alexandria before they could be shipped anywhere. It was a requirement. That's where they collected all the knowledge, again, through naval intelligence. And Carthage had this awesome port, right? They had these high walls on the outside of the port so that you couldn't see in to see what they were loading or unloading on these triremes. They had this whole idea of naval intelligence on lock thousands of years ago. These people were fucking smart. And they don't get enough credit because they became the elites everywhere, you know? I mean, we don't think about it like that, but that's what's going on right now. And they invented Christianity, unfortunately, if that's your thing. But they also invented all of the pagan religions, too. They spread that Baal worship all over Ireland. You know, that can't be really denied. Baal in Ireland, all the Baal worship came through the Carthaginian. All the Baal worship that happened in Spain came through Carthage. It was a Spanish, before it was, it belonged to the Visigoths. It was the Carthaginians. They owned that little peninsula. This is why they came over to the New World through Spain. You know, Spain and Portugal already knew this stuff. They were Carthaginians. But what do you think? Should we wrap it there?
Yeah. I think that actually went very, very well. That was really good. People even said in the chat, somebody says, even go without the mail. It's well done today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
If you guys have any stories, again, send them to the mailbag, headlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com, and we will definitely talk about those. But if you guys like the Carthage thing, I could probably make it a series, because there's just so much information about it, and it's like each little bit fits together with the other stuff.
Yeah, that is a deep topic on its own, for sure.
Right. And I haven't even gotten into the Babylonian side of Carthage, because Carthage, or the Canaanite Phoenicians, were taken over by the Neo-Syrians at the same time that the Jews were. That's why they were writing about it the same way. But basically, like, if you look at their artwork, you can see that they adopted the eye shape from the Sumerians. So I think what they're indicating in all of these different works of art that look really simple but have really deep meaning is all of the different motifs that they're absorbing from all of these cultures around them. You know, you see the Egyptian influence in that cross. You see that cross again on this Gloria Vanderbilt shadow box. It's so strange, this ominous continuity between all these things, you know. Who could have figured?
Oh, yes.
But tune in on Sunday. Do you have anything coming up, Nick?
I think July 1st. Do I have somebody this? I think I might have somebody this weekend, to tell you the truth, but I can't. Oh, yeah. I got somebody, Domino, coming on Saturday, but that's for herbal stuff. But July 1st, I know I told you about it. I'm assuming you can make it earlier. We got a kid coming on that I met from the summit that is this kid's fucking smart as shit. And he was kind of hanging out with Ashton Forbes the whole time. It was like part of his little Ashton Forbes had an entourage of like nerdy kids with them at this summit. It was actually pretty cool to listen to them like talk and debate and shit. I was like, holy fuck. I was like, yo, this is amazing. These kids are young. He's gonna come on and present some shit with free energy and electric and some weird shit. He's gonna make slides and he's got a presentation. So July 1st, we'll be doing that.
Awesome. Well,
that should be fun.
if you guys tune in on Sunday, we're going to have another trialogue. Ethan said he's back. So that's going to be new trialogue coming out on Sunday.
Yeah. Nice. That is awesome. Yeah. He was coming on Saturday. So yeah, that's awesome that he's going to. Good.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be great to have Ethan back. I'm sure he's had a rough time. If you guys could, send your wishes along, that would be great. So if you guys will join me next time, I'll see you then. Bye.
Later.